and gave us a new way. He gave the law in the beginning, and they didn't keep it. But it's because it wasn't in their heart, but they couldn't have it in their heart because God hadn't put it in their heart. He only had put it on stone and gave it to them. It was in their head, but not in their heart.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Now read that again.
Okay. When the Lord finished speaking to Moses on Mount Sinai, he gave him the 2 tablets of the testimony.
This is it. He gave it to them on stone. Read.
Okay. Okay, I was thought. The tablets of stone, inscribed by the finger of God.
He gave it to them, and it was written by the finger of God. Isn't that something? God himself wrote it and gave it to them. But they still didn't believe it. You know, and it's the same thing with us today. As I said, we have parents, and we know that, well, I hope we do. I knew my parents loved me. And you know your parents love you, but yet you don't believe what they say.
It doesn't align with what they want to do.
It doesn't, right. And it's not in their heart. But once it gets in their heart, and here's one of the things that can happen. You can run into a bump in the road, and you'll say, that's what my parents was talking about.
That's right.
And then it'll get down.
That's right.
I know not to go that way no more. Right? You know you all remember my story about the snow and me and my dad? My dad said, you're not going to make it out there. The weather's too bad. I said, I can make it. Because I'm a good driver, you know, I'm a good driver. I'm about, I don't know, probably 19, 18, 19, I don't know how old I was, but it doesn't matter. I might have been older than that. But the point is, I can make it. I got out in that snow, and it was snowing cats and dogs and frogs. I'm telling you, it was a snowstorm. I could not keep the windshield wipers going. Every few feet I had to get out and wipe the snow off of the thing. And I looked and I saw there was nobody on the street but me. But I'm going to this church club meeting. I would have been the only one there. I got about 2 blocks, and it took me about 20 minutes. And I said, I need to go back home. And I turned around, took me another 20 minutes. I was about 40 minutes going about 4 or 5 blocks, you know, circle. And when I got to the driveway, my father was standing out on the porch, and he said, just go on in the house, honey. I'll put the car in the shop. That's all he ever said. Never said another word. But my point is, when it's a snowdrift, Grace, she's 85 now. But she knows that in her little heart. Don't go out trying to drive when the snow is drifting. You see what I'm saying? When I hit that bump, I learned better. So when it snows, I mean, I tell everybody, particularly if there's any ice, you all can come over to church if you want to. I'll hardly be here. If it's icy. Well, you know, I've driven in the ice too, but I mean, I'm saying that in a jest, but I'm really not going to try to fight the weather if it's really bad, really, really bad, you know. I mean, I'm coming in the snow. But once you get it, and that's what has to happen sometimes to our children, they have to have a big bump, get their head on a rock or something, and then they get it down in them. But God was trying to tell them what to do, but they didn't want to do it. And you see, there's a saying, that people used to have a saying, God never intended to make religion to make our pleasures less. And that's the truth. Everything that he did, he said it for us to be blessed. When he told, we talked about the scripture that I first read about the husband, if you're the husband of or wife, staying with the husband as long as they live and so forth, not to commit adultery and all that. All of those laws, all of those things were so that you could have a better life. It wasn't to make your pleasures less. It was so you could have a better life. Because when you're going from person to person and man to man and all that kind of stuff, you got a mess of a life. A mess of a life. But if you can find one person that's the one for you, just stay with that person. And, you know, sometimes you might have to cry. And you might have to have some, you know, I mean, you might have to. But just as long as adultery and all that's not going on, you know what I'm saying? You stay with that person. And make that home what it ought to be. Because that's the way God intended it, to have one man and one woman together for life. That's what God intended. And he didn't say there wouldn't be some bumps in the road there, but there's nothing that you can't work out if they're being faithful to one another. And that's the bottom line, faithfulness to each other. Mm-hmm. All right, let's keep moving. Next scripture.
Okay, St. John 1:17.
Mm-hmm.
For the law was given by Moses.
The law was given by Moses,
But grace and truth
but
came by Jesus.
grace and truth came by Jesus Christ. In other words, God gives us grace. And what is grace? Favor. He gives us favor. Favor came. See, the law was, if you don't do this, you get smacked down, or you get stoned, or you get your hand cut off, and all that kind of stuff. That's right, and they're still doing that. It's a real law. They cut off hands and feet and stuff when folks, if they steal, then they cut that hand off that stole. That's not, if it's in your heart to steal, you'll steal if you have to steal with your mouth. I mean, that's true. You got to get it in your heart. The grace and truth came by Jesus Christ.
Yes.
So favor and truth came by Jesus Christ. All right, that's all we want with that. We don't have, this is not a long lesson tonight, I don't think. Okay, St. Titus.
You want Titus
Mm-hmm.
3.
Mm-hmm.
At one time, we too were foolish.
At one time, so listen, don't laugh so fast sometimes at folks. Because at one time we were foolish too.
Oh, amen.
Read.
Disobedient.
At one time we were disobedient too. Right?
Deceived and enslaved by all kinds of passions.
Oh Lord. In other words, we just did what we wanted to do.
Yes, yes.
So don't be mad at your family because they're doing it because that's what you did.
Yep.
But teach them so they don't have to go through what you had to go through.
Amen.
Try to teach them. They won't learn, that's their problem. They'll have to bump their head and whatever has to happen. But we were once silly too. Read.
We lived in malice and envy.
We lived in malice and envy. Now this is getting down where the road meets the road because he's not talking about fornicating and all that stuff there. He's talking about malice and envy. Some of us are still there, but let's get a new way of serving God. We don't need to have malice and envy no more, right?
Right.
Quit that. We're grown up now.